Hi everyone, I'm Kathryn and I'm going to be running through the DIY zine workshop. So in today's session, all you will need is paper, and you can either use an A4 piece of paper or an A3 piece of paper. So if you're using an A3 piece of paper, by the end of the session, you will have a zine around A5 size, so around the same size as a postcard. However, if you haven't got A3 paper, you can use A4 paper, which is essentially this size paper, which I'll be using. And the outcome of using an A4 size paper will mean that you have a small pocket-sized mini zine, which sometimes makes for more interesting work, really. So it's entirely up to you, A4 or A3 paper. Then you're going to need drawing materials. So that can be anything from coloured pencils, pens, biros, marker, watercolours, any art materials you can get your hands on, really. You'll definitely need a glue stick or PVA glue, anything that you can use to stick pieces together. You're also definitely going to need a scissors because we're going to do some snipping. And then in terms of the content that will go inside the zine, you'll need anything from recycled paper, newspapers, magazines that you no longer use and are happy to cut up, catalogues, recycled wrapping paper, things from gift bags, cardboard boxes. So have a rummage around and find anything 2D that you can stick inside your zine. I sometimes like to use fabric, and anything 2D in terms of foil, partridge paper makes for really great work as well. So absolutely anything you can get your hands on that is a variety of texture, colour and pattern. You can also include a needle and thread for this, and I'll talk about this in a sec. But essentially, if you are feeling quite creative and you like experimenting with embroidery, you can also do some embroidery or some stitch work into your zine as well. So a needle and thread is an optional tool. So before we begin the making, we're just going to briefly touch upon what zines are. So zines are short for magazines. So they're spelt zine, and sometimes people call them zines, but they're usually zines, so Z-E-E-N, zines. Zines are created by anybody, and there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to creating a zine, which makes them really creative and abstract outputs. Usually zines discuss a wide range of topics, including art, culture, women's rights, race, immigration, gender, politics, and they're usually created through DIY formats. So they usually start with a master copy that is then copied through a photocopier or a printer and reproduced. So how to make a zine. So I'm working on a A4 piece of paper here. The first thing you need to do is fold the paper in half. So the shorter edges need to come together. And I recommend working on a flat surface for this, just so that you can make sure that you are folding accurately. If you are quite particular about your folds, it's worth using a ruler. So I folded my paper once, and the outside edges have come together to meet. You then need to fold your paper again. So I'm going to fold it once more lengthways. So we have this size, and then you need to fold once more. So we're going to fold in so if you remember correctly, I'm working with A4, which means that my final zine, by the time I folded it 3 times, will be a mini small type zine, which looks like this. So just to repeat that, I've taken my A4 piece of paper, I folded it once, I folded it twice, and then I folded it 3 times. So by the time you folded it 3 times, you can open it back up, and you should be able to see 8 boxes, like so. So once you've got your 8 boxes, you then need to fold your paper in half again, so that you see 4 boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is when you need to get your scissors, because we're going to snip into our zine. So I'm just going to turn my paper this way. So you can see on this side, I've got the closed edge, and that's where my paper is folded. And on this side is the open edge, where both of the outside edges meet together. We definitely do not want to snip this side. we're snipping the folded edge. So when you come to snipping it, you need to make sure that you're following, and I'm trying to make sure that's as clear as possible. We're cutting along this fold here, and we stop at the center line. If you feel like you need to make sure that you do stop at the center line, or if it helps you to mark it out, it's sometimes worth doing that. On the handout that I've provided alongside this video, there is an illustration above the folds to show you exactly where you need to cut. So I've marked it out. I know I need to stop right in the center fold there, and I need to begin from the folded edge. If you accidentally cut from the outside edge, don't worry, it's just a case of grabbing some more paper and starting again. So I'm now going to cut along the folded edge all the way in, and I'm going to stop as soon as I get to the center. So now I have a slit in between my my paper, and if I open it up, I should see a slit in between. Now you need to fold your paper lengthways. So we've got our slit in between, and we fold our paper lengthways so that our slit is there. Now this bit's a little bit tricky. Once you fold it lengthways and you have your slit, it's sometimes helpful to view it from this way. We're now going to make the two ends of the slit meet. So we're going to push them together so that they kiss and form four. And I'll do that once more. I'm going to bring them together so that they kiss and form four. Then we're going to press all of the folds together to create a booklet. So I have my front cover, my first page, second page, third page, fourth, 5, 6, and back cover. And I'll do that once more because I appreciate it's quite tricky. So we've taken our slit, we're folding it this way, and then making our edges kiss and meeting the middle. That then gives us a sort of cross form like this, and we can close our book up and we have our zine. Sometimes it helps to work out which page is the front cover, the back cover, and page numbers in between. So if you find that helpful, you can definitely mark that out in pencil. So that essentially is the beginning of your zine. You can put that to one side. Now, the theme of this workshop is identity. So the idea is by the end of the session, you'll have a zine full of imagery, drawings, sketches, text that represent you and your identity. So I suggest if you are struggling and coming up with ideas, writing a short list, brainstorming lots of ideas in terms of your favourite things and what represents you. So it can be anything from your favourite colour, your favourite texture, your favourite place to go, your favourite holiday destination. It might be a book or a TV series. It might be your friends or family. It might be your pet. Anything that you think best represents you. And I'll show you guys in a sec some of the images that I've collected and put together and that I've sourced from magazines and newspapers that appeal to me and represent me. But before I do that, I just want to show you an example of a previous zine that I've created so you can sort of visualize how they can look. So this is the front cover, and you can see I've taken a crossword from a newspaper and I've just filled in some words inside that crossword. And then if you open it up, you can see in the first page, I've written some text here, some random text. And this is an example of how you can stitch in. So I drew a cube shape and roughly stitched alongside it. And then I collaged some more. So I obviously found this illustration in a newspaper, and I've taken lots of squares and added them on. You can also make it really interesting, so it doesn't have to just be a flat page. Here, I've cut into the page and made a frame that reveals a texture or colour or image on the page on the inside. So that can be a really effective way of adding depth and making the zine more interesting. So I've cut into my frame and it reveals the image on the inside, which is really cool. And then I've opened it up into the back page, and you can see I've added an additional mini zine within a zine. So I've created a zine with lots of square patterns and shapes, like a repeat pattern on it that folds away, that I've glued on the inside there. Just makes it more interesting. And then the end. And the great thing about a zine is that it doesn't just end there. If you open it up, you can see the full picture. So you can see all of the pages together. I've experimented with collage and breaking imagery up. If we twist it around, we can see the other side. So it creates a huge, beautiful abstract document. We close it up, put everything back in, and that's your zine. So hopefully you have a list of, a couple of things that you can use to help you source inspiration from magazines and newspapers. So some of the things that I've created or I've sourced are things like travel. So I really love travel and I really miss travel. So I've taken some photographs and some images from newspapers because I love travel. I've also found some images of beaches and landscapes, some Welsh rural landscapes as well. I'm from Swansea, so I found this in a newspaper and I'm going to include that in my zine. I found a small little map of Wales with a sheep and a leek, so that'll be going in there. But I also found this type of type, which I thought was really cool, and it's sort of pixelated game typography. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I've cut it up because I think I might use some of the text to add to my zine. Other things I've included are things like this. So this is actually, this has been taken from a gig, and this is a crowd with lots of confetti, and I like the textures and the colours and the shapes, so that's definitely going to be either a background, or I might cut it out to create more shapes. I recently moved house and I'm starting to, and I'm looking forward to gardening. So I've just got some photos of gardens, country gardens, and some more of trees. And then other things include textiles. So I love textiles and I like print. So I've just sourced some images from a newspaper with lots of different textures and prints. I've taken things from magazines. I've got glossy red paper. And then I found this in a magazine as well. So this was from a editorial about a photographer who was taking photographs from the car window. So I think what I might do with this one is cut through the car window to reveal an image on the inside. So just use the frame and then maybe stick, I don't know, maybe the landscape behind it, but we'll see. So essentially, that's all you need to do. You need to source images, source things from newspaper, cut through text, find interesting colours, interesting shapes, and things that you're drawn to, essentially. The great thing about this is that there's no right or wrong answer, and the zine is entirely what you want it to be. In the document that I've provided in terms of the rules for the sessions, you're encouraged to experiment and try new things. Also, really try to embrace imperfection, because zine making is an experiment. So there's no right or wrong way to make a zine. And I encourage you to be impulsive and just go with the flow with this one. Cut what you like, collage what feels good, and think about textures, colours and text. So if I go ahead and begin with this one as well, I forgot to mention this. This is obviously taken from a travel extract in a magazine, but I was lucky enough to go to India and it's one of my favourite places, so I'm definitely going to include that. So obviously this is my front cover. I think I might just go and skip and go to the second page. So here I could begin by creating a frame maybe. And this is very, very rough. So I've quickly created a frame. So you can see I've made a little gap there. And where's my Taj Mahal? I'm going to stick my Taj Mahal to be on this page. Just going to take my scissors and my glue stick. So you can see there, open my zine up, but once it closes, it'll be a frame like this. Other things I might include are, so the gardening type country garden image. I think I might cut some shapes out of this so I can just play around. Maybe some more. So again, it's entirely up to you on your approach for this. I'm just going to cut some more curved shapes. I actually quite like the negatives that leaves, so I might use that as well. Let's go to my front cover. Get my glue. Ripped a little bit off there, stick it back on. So I'm just adding some random shapes to my front cover, taken from that garden image, and it's left some really nice colours and textures on the front. I'm also going to take some of the text, so I'm going to cut some of the letters out. And obviously you might want to use the letters of your name if you want to. I'm just going to cut around and add my G. And don't forget, there's no reason why you can't draw or colour on top. So if I've got my little abstract shape there, there's no reason why I can't begin to add my own design or drawing above. So I can continue to colour this in and make my own zine. So essentially, by the end of your zine making, you should have a nice full zine with lots of colours, texture, frames, stitching if you want to add stitching. It's entirely up to you. Good luck.